Tim, what do you make of all this federal army thrust into Portland and other cities?
Oh, you mean Trump's private army that is stopping terrorist demonstrations? I read that one person was shot in the head with a rubber bullet, and a Navy veteran had his wrist broken by a baton.
Tim, don't be snide. Do you think Mr. Trump is simply trying to bolster his voting base for re-election purposes?
Well, perhaps it was a political move at first, but it seems to have taken on a life of its own. At first, the heavy-handed tactics of the security force made the situation worse. Now, some protesters are continuing this needless violence.
From what I have seen on other news channels, there doesn't seem to be an end of the violence in sight.
I fear that we're in for a long spate of violence in the country. Mr. Trump has stirred up a hornet's nest. He thrives on the chaos he creates. He enjoys blaming every demonstration, peaceful and otherwise, on either Antifa or extremists.
I understand Mr. Trump has started up his daily briefings at the White House.
Administrative handlers apparently have lost control of him again. He appears to be craving a captive audience, even if it is only the press.
I read that he is perhaps causing himself more harm than good by his briefings.
One Democratic strategist commented, "When the opposition is busy destroying themselves, it is best not to interrupt them."
Mr. Trump can't seem to make up his mind on what to call the coronavirus. First it was the China virus, then the China flu. Now it's the China plague. I read the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, called it the Trump virus.
It's all part of his relentless misdirection campaign to the American public. He is trying to cover his ineptness of handling the coronavirus by shifting the blame to China.
Now it appears he has started a consulate tit-for-tat with China by closing the Chinese Houston consulate.
That seems to be. China, in retaliation, has closed the U.S. consulate in Chengdu, China. I can't wait to see what the malcontent Mr. Trump is going to do next.
Isn't it nice that the president has finally donned a mask in public? I think he looks great in black.
Better late than never. If only he had shown support for masks months earlier and not turned it into a political debate. At almost 180,000 deaths, I wonder how many lives could have been saved, but were lost because of his ego and refusal to promote wearing a mask.
The president has recently been trying to discredit Dr. Fauci. It appears Dr. Fauci and the medical experts have been right all along.
Mr. Trump has been minimalizing the coronavirus for months. He continues to only think about his re-election chances and not the welfare of the country.
The president now wants to exclude the illegal immigrant population from the census number. That will be affecting the number of representatives for some states.
This is such a tricky problem. Exactly what are illegal immigrants entitled to? To count them in the overall census is the right thing to do to understand our country's population. Then again, should illegal immigrants be counted towards congressional representation?
That will be another topic, perhaps for the courts to decide.
Yet again, more court cases. I think Mr. Trump has set a record for incurring the most court cases of one kind or another.
I see that Tucker Carlson of our sister channel Fox News continues to hassle Senator Tammy Duckworth over her criticism of the president's speech at Mount Rushmore. Tammy commented that the president spent more time talking about Confederate statues than he did about the coronavirus.
Tucker is a loose cannon. I think he is trying to score brownie points with the president. It appears that he is infatuated with his own ego.
He called Tammy a coward and questioned her patriotism since she refused to be on his program and defend her comments.
I read that Tammy, a paraplegic from the Iraq conflict, suggested Tucker walk a mile on her prosthetic legs before he questions her patriotism.
I agree. Attorney General William Barr made a statement that pepper spray is not a chemical irritant since pepper is not a chemical.
Oh, I love it when people split hairs over a subject. While pepper is not a chemical, what else is in the can? How about a chemical propellant? And what about chemical additives?
Well, Tim, why would Attorney General Barr make such a statement? It appears unprofessional.
From what I have read, the supposedly independent Attorney General, Mr. Barr, is nothing more than a parrot for Mr. Trump.
Did you read where the president signed an executive order to lower drug prices? He set a date for a meeting with pharma executives at the White House.
Yeah, I heard about that. The pharma executives blew him off. Washington didn't release the text of the executive order. Now, how could you possibly have a discussion? I'm not sure Mr. Trump is capable of having a discussion. He has his idea, and that's it.
Well, once again, Tim, our time is up. Have a great week, folks.
Thanks, Tammie. And folks, remember, wash those hands and be safe.